What's the dumbest rule your school ever enforced? Can't be standing around in groups more than 4, gang mentality. My gang of 4 found that policy very convenient. Locked the only boys' bathroom because someone wrote on the wall in Sharpie. It wasn't even anything rude or inappropriate either. It was just the word hi, or something like that. Didn't unlock the door until one boy wet himself and parents threatened to sue. That kid really sacrificed himself for everyone else. They outlawed bracelets because there was an article in a magazine somewhere saying they advertised what sexual acts you were open for based on their color. Then someone tried to outlaw wrist watches for the same reason. I think I had a Casio calculator watch when I was in school. I wonder what sex act the teachers might have assumed I was up to. Abstinence, probably. They'd have been correct. Not by choice, of course. If only I'd known I had the wrong watch. It was by choice, just not your choice. Not really a rule, but the toilet paper holders are outside of the stalls on a wall. So you have to calculate before taking a shit how much you need and hope that it was enough. Awful. And impossible. No, it's easy. The answer is the entire roll. It's impossible to get the roll itself out of the thing, so you'd have to empty that entire roll, lol. Correct. Banned all backpacks bags on campus. Students were expected to somehow carry everything they needed in hand. This was especially challenging if you had a non-ideal locker placement. Ours did this too because, in college they won't let you carry your bags everywhere. Fucking liars. College professors don't give a shit. My HS did this too. A tripping threat, in classrooms apparently. Not sure if the rule still exists there as this was like 10 years ago. I got a suspension for holding a stick. The phone call with my mom went something like this, only slightly dramatized. School, Mrs. DeQueck, your son has been suspended. Mom, oh my goodness, what did he do? S. He was holding a stick. M. Did he hit someone with it? S. No. He was just holding it. M. Did he threaten to hit someone with it? S. No, just held it. M. Did he refuse to put it down when you asked? S. No, he was very cooperative. M. So, what did he do wrong? S. He held a stick. M. And I should be upset about that? S. Absolutely, you know we have a zero-tolerance policy. M. Right, well, I'll talk with him. As you might guess, I did not get in trouble at home. Something similar happened to my brother when he was a little kid. He found a cool-looking rock at recess, and wanted to bring it home, so he was carrying it around to put in his backpack when they went inside. When they called my mom, she went down to the school demanding a meeting. The VP claimed it could be used as a weapon, so the second the VP picked up his pen to sign whatever bullshit punishment he was trying to give, my mom started screaming, "He's got a weapon! He's got a weapon!" Because a grown man with a pen can cause a lot more damage than a 6-year-old with a rock smaller than his fist. My brother got a light verbal warning. Edit. This is not the first time my mom has had to flip her shit at school officials for us kids. My mom is 5 feet 1 inch and 100 pounds soaking wet, and she never missed an opportunity to go to bat for us kids. I had a highly abusive teacher when I was a kid that my mom straight up assaulted in front of the principal, VP, counselor, and 2 security officers, on camera. She didn't even get a slap on the wrist. Edit 2. To those wanting me to tell her that y'all love her, after a lengthy convo, I reminded her of why I was reaching out right now. A bunch of people on Reddit say they love you. Do you have a message for them? My mom responds, "What the fuck is Reddit? Gods, I love this woman." We suddenly one day weren't allowed to stand in circles during recess because, and I quote, "we could be dealing drugs." I will add that for the years prior we had been standing in circles no problem. Next recess, we stood in a triangle, cue principal going apeshit. Next day we stood in a square, principal kept us inside for a week. And threatened us all with detentions if we did it again, etc. I believe their idea was open-ended circles so they could see what we were doing. Still stupid. No farting in class. They would say, "If you need to fart then go to the toilet." But then 9 times out of 10 if you asked to go to the toilet they'd say no. I remember in 5th grade we would have farting competitions to see who could fart the most during the day. We might have needed this rule. Zero tolerance. Just means that if someone starts a fight with you, you fight back as hard as you can. You're going to get suspended for defending yourself anyway, might as well make it worthwhile. In elementary school, I literally got chased by a group of about 10 to 15 kids because we were playing Kill the Carrier, and I absolutely destroyed one of their friends, so for some reason they decided the game didn't matter at that moment, and that they'd all try to fight me. So all I did was run away and head into the school to tell a teacher, and the principal had the audacity to give me their form of detention, no recess, for 5 days straight, along with all of the other kids. I remember hearing my dad yelling at the principal since this was like the 4th time I got in trouble for simply defending myself or escaping conflict. Years later I found out he actually cursed her out, and she was standing there in shock. You have to wear your tie all the way home. Some sad bastard teachers would stand on the main road away from the school and try to hand out detentions in presumably their own time. In grade school, we weren't allowed to play on the playground equipment when it snowed. Eventually, we weren't allowed to play with snow or even go near it. I got in trouble for sitting in snow. This was in Minnesota where it snows half the year. Recess basically consisted of milling around the blacktop for 30 minutes. My friend is an administrator at a private school in NJ, and the faculty has to sign in and out of the bathroom using Google Sheets. 9 a.m., 10 minutes MF. When I was in junior school, UK boarding school in the 80s, we were not allowed to say okay as it was considered slang and not befitting the young ladies and gentlemen that we should aspire to be. For context, junior school covered ages 5 to 13. We also had to have a comb and a handkerchief on us at all times. On top of that, we weren't allowed to have our hands in our pockets because it looks slovenly. Don't damage school property. Sounds reasonable enough until you get detention for staining a chair after suddenly getting your period. Playing cards at lunch was prohibited because it promoted gambling. No slow dances at the prom. No fighting, enforced by punishing the kids who were getting hit. Came here to say this. The zero tolerance policy is insane. Imagine this was applied to the real world. Oh, your husband beat you. Both of you can enjoy years in prison. What's that? Mass shooter injured 12 people? We're gonna need a bigger prison. Got mugged in the alley? Believe it or not, prison. Yep, I literally was walking down the hall in junior high, minding my own business, and some guy, who I now suspect had some mental health issues and or abuse at home, just laid into me with a series of punches for no reason. A teacher pulled him off me before I could even react. Imagine my surprise when I found out I was suspended too, even though I hadn't done anything other than get assaulted. I don't understand what that's supposed to teach kids. Luckily for me, my dad thought it was bullshit too and came and picked me up from school and said, "Just treat today like it's a day off, you deserve it." We weren't allowed to wear thongs. I don't know how they caught people who did, to be honest. For a while it was a fad to leave them purposefully visible under low-rise jeans. It wasn't really the rule that was dumb but the reason for it. In my last year of high school, the school issued a rule that all students had to wear student IDs. If you didn't, you had to immediately go and pay for another ID. While you can see how many students may have saw this a way to skip class, the reason for this was the school shootings that happened the previous year. The reasoning was that it would be easier to spot who is a student and who is not a student to then see who has malicious intent, except that most shooters were students, so no beads. Apparently they thought beaded jewelry was gang-related? We once had a rule that we could only go to the bathroom during class. Not in the breaks. Only during class. Really weird that this is the reverse of most bathroom policies being brought up here. Was there a reason for it? Probably to prevent gathering. If during class most students would be in class and the staff would know who was in bathroom at what time. Toilet paper rationing. This was in 1997-98 BTW. Apparently the high school girls' room was going through too much toilet paper, so the dean, a woman, stood outside the door and distributed a few squares of one-ply institutional toilet paper to us as we went in. If she noticed toilet paper on the floor, our ration got cut down. If we asked for more for bigger jobs, we were told to save it for home. There were several episodes of girls stuck in stalls until friends could beg for more TP because of period messes or unexpected bowel incidents. The dean wouldn't even hand it over, she would go in the bathroom and pass it a few squares at a time over the door. If you didn't catch it as it fell and it landed on the floor, well, that's your fault, and you're not getting more. If you use more than she thought necessary, tough luck, go to class with bloodshed on your body. It took about a week of extremely angry parents coming to the school and calling both the school and the school board, but we finally got our toilet paper back, unlimited. How did we celebrate? By TPing her car, of course. I was wearing a regulation uniform jacket in a classroom during winter that had no heating. The teacher demanded I remove my jacket, and I refused because I was cold. She sent me to the headmistress. Rule: no duct tape on clothing. Reason: some girls thought they could get past the no ripped jeans rule by covering the tears with duct tape. It became a fad, and everyone started doing it, so it got banned. A kid in my AP literature class found a loophole and made an entire outfit out of red and black duct tape. I mean shorts, a t-shirt and a jacket and shoes. When the school tried to suspend him, they couldn't because the rule was no duct tape on clothes. It said nothing about clothes made out of duct tape. He won the argument and even wore the outfit a few more times to say, "Fuck you," to the school and principals, lol. One particular professor at my university would lock the door a minute after class began. If you had to leave to go to the bathroom, you couldn't get back in. Somehow this ancient fossil is still teaching and pulling similar shit. If you were caught on your phone, they'd take it until the end of the week. You'd get it back at 3:30 on Friday. Parents went mental, and a few even came together and sent bills through for part of the phone bills. They ditched that rule after 2 weeks. What's the dumbest rule your school ever enforced? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.